Hello, this is Mike Cook, and welcome to episode 22.8 of Anti-Doping Updates. Today, we've got two great stories to talk to you about. The first is regarding an Ethiopian distance runner, and the second is regarding an English women's football player. All right, let's get started. So the first story to talk about is GETAYE FISSEHA GELAW. He is an Ethiopian road runner. And on September 5th of 2021, he competed in a half marathon in Izmir, Turkey, and was selected for testing and provided a urine sample. He was also selected for out-of-competition testing on October 10 of 2021 and provided urine and blood samples. And all three of those samples tested positive for erythropoietin, or EPO. On February 4 of 2022, the Athletics Integrity Unit, which is the disciplinary arm of World Athletics, which is the governing body for the sport, the International Federation governing athletics. Anyway, the AIU notified him of the positive test and that he was provisionally suspended and asked if he had any explanation for the positive test, and notified him that there appeared to be aggravating circumstances based on the three positive tests, with a possible penalty of 6 years. So a week later, February 11th, 2022, GETAYE FISSEHA GELAW provided his explanation, indicating that he was recovering from injury, and asked his colleagues or competitors for some advice, and they recommended painkillers, but it turned out the substances that he was taking was EPO, or included EPO. On May 15th, GETAYE FISSEHA GELAW provided an additional explanation, indicating that his friends had injected him with what he thought was painkillers on 3 occasions in September and October of 2021. The AIU asked GETAYE FISSEHA GELAW to identify the friends who injected him, and he responded indicating that the people who injected him were not really his friends, but associates of his friends. On April 21, 2022, the AIU issued its notice of charge of the anti-doping rule violation and aggravating circumstances, which meant for a 6-year suspension. GETAYE FISSEHA GELAW did not admit to the charges and did not request a hearing to contest the charges, so the AIU imposed a 6-year disqualification due to the presence of prohibited substances, namely EPO, and aggravating circumstances. The aggravating circumstances in this case were the use on multiple occasions based on the multiple positive tests and his admission that he had received 3 injections. So that's how they got to, from the normal 4-year suspension for presence or use, the additional 2 years for the aggravating circumstances. Okay. Next story is regarding Chioma Ubogagu, and she is a football player for the Tottenham Hotspur women's team. Her evidence at hearing was that she suffers from nodulocytic acne, and while playing in the United States, she was prescribed spironolactone together with minoclonine from her doctor at the time, Dr. Nancy Chung. Ubogagu argued that Dr. Chung was aware that she was a professional football player, but did not tell Dr. Chung that she could not take any substances prohibited by the World Anti-Doping Code. Ubogagu asserted that she thought her acne medication would be okay, as her previous acne medication had not resulted in an anti-doping rule violation. Ubogagu admitted that she did not check any available online resources, such as Global DRO, to determine if the medicine she took contained a prohibited substance. So on October 7th, 2020, she was selected for out-of-competition testing. On her doping control form, she indicated that she was taking monoxicline, but did not disclose that she was also taking spironolactone. On October 28, Ubogagu, when she returned to Tottenham from the USA, she didn't tell her medical doctor all of her prescriptions. She asked for a refill of spironolactone, And the doctor for Tottenham Hotspur, Dr. Rosenblum, informed her that that contained a prohibited substance, canrenone. Ubogagu asked for a therapeutic use exception for canrenone, but that was denied by the Football Association, which is the governing body for football in England. The Football Association has adopted the anti-doping rules that are consistent with the World Anti-Doping Code. On December 1, the FA notified Ubogagu of the anti-doping rule violation for the presence of use of a prohibited substance, namely canrenone. Her sample tested positive for canrenone, which is a prohibited substance under the category of SB5 diuretics and masking agents. The FA issued a notice of charge on February 17, 2022, and Ubogagu admitted the violation on February 18. She claimed that her positive test was the result of prescribed anti-acne medication, and she requested a hearing to determine the level of sanction. The starting point for an anti-doping rule violation for presence or use of a prohibited substance is 4 years, and that can be reduced to 2 years if the athlete can show that the use was not intentional. The sanction can be further reduced if the athlete can show no fault or negligence or no significant fault or negligence. So those are the issues here in this case. Whether or not it was intentional and whether or not there's no fault or negligence or no significant fault or negligence. So turning first towards intentional, in the World Anti-Doping Code, intentional is meant to identify those participants who engage in conduct which they knew constituted an anti-doping rule violation or knew that there was a significant risk that the conduct might constitute or result in an anti-doping rule violation and manifestly disregarded that risk. So Ubogagu argued that by taking the prescription medication that she thought would be okay was not intentional, and the FA agreed with her. They found that it was not intentional as that's defined in the rules. So that brings her down from the 4-year sanction to the 2-year sanction. So there's further reduction if she can show no fault or negligence or no significant fault or negligence. And that's also defined in the World Anti-Doping Code. No fault or negligence means the participant is able to establish that he or she did not know or suspect and could not reasonably have known or suspected, even with the exercise of utmost caution, that he or she had used or been administered the prohibited substance or prohibited method or otherwise violated an anti-doping rule. So Chioma Ubogagu argued at the hearing that she should be found to have no significant fault or negligence. The FA disciplinary panel agreed that Ubogagu had some degree of negligence, and found that there was a normal degree of fault based on the fact that she could have checked with Dr. Chung, could have done an internet search, and could have notified Dr. Rosenblum when she joined Tottenham Hotspur. So the FA panel decided to reduce further from the 2 years and decided to impose a 9-month sanction on Ubogagu. And that's how she was able to get a 9 months sanction instead of the 4-year sanction. And that's it for anti-doping updates for episode 22.8. I'll be back next time with some exciting stories.